Hello, welcome back to the Jazz Ranch. You know, it's winter time here, it's relaxed, you know, the horses out there relaxing and the altar dominant ego man is taking care of them. And you know, I wanted to just tell you about a friend of ours who creates music for horses and other animals, and she's doing a great job promoting the well-being of animals. Her name is Janet Marlowe, and please check out her website. I have the link below. And I have something special for you, but before I talk about that, I want to tell you about my own story. And you know, I grew up in a privileged family, of course, living here in America. We're privileged and so on. I had the opportunity to go to New York when I was 18 years old and hear the greats like Thelonious Monk, John Coltrane, Miles Davis. I heard all those people, you know, that, and so on. And you know, I loved music, but my parents said that was not a profession to pursue. You should pursue banking like your father and have wealth and have all the joys of life that you know that will give you. And so I went on to business school in Boston and studied business, and I got a degree and went on into banking in my early years, and I wasn't happy. So I went out to the West Coast. I tried to figure out what was going on in my life, and then I discovered that I needed to pursue music. That music was my passion, that was my love, and I came back to the East Coast and I went into music school and I started to become a jazz musician and play gigs in clubs, in the dives and so on, you know. What an exciting life, but no money, you know. But whatever, if it's your passion and it's your love, that's the most important thing, and that's what I encourage you to do. That's why I'm here now. I couldn't be doing this if I hadn't done that. So I encourage you to do that and write to me and tell me your story. And so now we'll continue with tonight's video, which is about beginner level jazz and how to use chords, how to drill chords, how to understand jazz chords, seventh chords. Here we go now. I want to do more with beginner level jazz, and the most important thing, of course, in terms of harmony is to learn your seventh chords. In other words, 4-note chords that form sevenths, and to be able to apply them to songs that you're learning to play. So now that all starts with the diatonic scale, of course, the major scale, and now in the key of C it's this. So like you really have to learn your scales in every key. We're not going to cover that here, but we're going to just explain as a review how to build seventh chords, and then I have 10 pages of drills on seventh chords, so different ways that I can conceive of, or that how I look at a good way to practice seventh chords and to learn them. So we're going to start here with the right hand now, and most of the time you're going to be playing in the left hand, or a lot of the time you're going to be playing them in the left hand to accompany the right hand with melodies. So you're going to have a chord here and a melody here. But you could also play them in the right hand if you're comping or accompanying, you know, in a band or playing chords in a band. You might want to play the chords in your right hand, and you also might want to play bass lines in the left hand. So you want to be able to play them in either hand or both hands. And so we're going to start with the diatonic scale. Just as a quick review, we're going to see that we're going to give them numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to take 1, 3, 5, and there's your major triad, C major. Now you have to, of course, learn these in all your keys. So you can go through the cycle of keys to learn them, or you can just go chromatically like this through the 12 keys. You want to go through 12 of them. Make sure you get 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You want to get all of those. And you want to know whether they're sharps or flats. So this is not, you know, a beginner from that level, but I'm just going to take the C major and then we lower the third or diminish it to make the minor. So major, nice bright sound, nice happy sound, darker, more, you know, somber sound, and then the diminished even darker, and then the major, and then the augmented, you know, taking us somewhere, wanting to explore, you know. So major, very content, dark, you know, minor, more somber, and now moving somewhere to, like that, going somewhere. So there you have the feeling of each one. Now from those we start to form the seventh chords from the triads, and we're just adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 7 steps. So there's the 7th step, that's major 7. These are the important ones now. Major 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, flat it or lower it, minor 7 now. So that's a major 7 interval, minor 7 interval. So now we take the major triad, major 7 interval, major 7th. Major triad, minor 7th interval, dominant 7th, or C7. Minor triad, minor 7th interval, minor 7th chord. You might say, well, why not the major 7th chord? Well, that's another one, but it's not what I'm going to be talking about right now. It's a more unorthodox version. We're just going to be talking about major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, then now the half diminished, or the minor 7 flat 5, where the 5 comes down or is diminished. Diminished 5th, which is a diminished triad here now with the minor 7th interval. That's the minor 7 flat 5, or the half diminished chord, and then one more, which is really a major 6th here now, or a double flatted 7th. I think of it more as a double flatted 7th, but with the diminished triad. That's our full diminished 7th. So there they are. There's your major 7th, your dominant 7th, or just C7, your minor 7, your minor 7 flat 5, or half diminished, and then your full diminished 7th there. So C major 7, C dominant 7, C minor 7, C minor 7 flat 5, C diminished 7th. Then there's two others, the major 6, which is functions similarly to the major 7. It's a major chord, often used when the melody is on the root, and you don't want to have this interval like that. And also the minor 6, so you just lower the third. So those are the most important chords. Now we're going to talk further about them and show how to practice them. Okay, so now I wrote out 10 pages of drills. Now the reason I did this is because a lot of people like drills. Now if you don't like drills and you don't like exercises, then this video is not for you. Except maybe later in the video. So just if you don't like drills, Len, and you want to see what happens later, then stick with me, and you can look at the drills and say, well, I don't want to do that, or this and that. But drills are for people who are more like me, are driven, like, in other words, they want to improve and they're willing to work hard at it. Not to say you're not a hard worker. Don't take it personally. Anyway, what I'm saying is that I'm going to give you the drills, and they're like this. You can take the major 7th, the C major 7, you can drill it through the cycle of fifths. Now you have to know what the cycle of fifths is, and I'm not going to explain that in this video because I explained it in past videos. Yes, I explained it in future videos. That's a good one. So now from C you're going to go to F. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through the major 7ths through the cycle of keys like this. In other words, see what I'm doing? I'm going through C major to F major. I'm going through the cycle of fifths. D flat, then G, of course, then E, and then A, and then E, and then G. It's pretty fascinating sounding if you just listen to it. Listen to it one time. That's going through the cycle of fifths. Now, that's not the only way to do it. You can also go up chromatically, which I like. I like that technique because it really gets you to... I just goofed. Here we go. Next one is there. The next one is there. And it's a good way to understand the keyboard not only from the point of view of the cycle of fifths, but also chromatically, which has a lot to do with jazz. So we do the same thing now with the next chord, which is the seventh. So we go through the, this is all written out, but you may be learning this, you don't read music, so like, you have to find that chord in each of the keys through the cycle. Or you can do it chromatically, which may be easier for you, like than doing it through the cycle like this. So if it's easier for you to do it chromatically, then you do it like this. But you have to watch every interval and make sure you get that interval perfect. Like that. Now this is really a good drill. Even if you're an intermediate or an advanced, if you've never done this, see, try doing this. This is not as easy as you think. And then, I'm going to put it later into these kind of chords like this, which are very good for jazz players, if you're more intermediate or advanced, to be able to move chromatically. So then you do it for every one of the chords, the minor sevenths, you want to learn all. But here's the important thing, that you name the chord either out loud or in your mind as you're doing them, like this. C minor 7, D flat minor 7, or C sharp minor 7, D minor 7, E flat minor 7. You can say it or think it. E minor 7, F minor 7, F sharp minor 7, or G flat minor 7. G minor 7, A flat minor 7, A minor 7, B flat minor 7, B minor 7, C minor 7, right? And then the half diminished. Now these are really tricky. These aren't even easy for me. I goof these up. The half diminished are difficult to do. So don't feel bad if they seem difficult to you, because they're difficult for me too. Like that, see? So now you say to me, well, if they're difficult for you, why don't you practice them? Okay, so like you practice them in emphatically. And a good way is to like just practice the scale over them. But that's another subject. But we can talk about that as we go along here. Now I'm going to give you some more tips as we continue. It's funny, but I had a subscriber recently say, well, why don't you just, why do you do it in segments? Just do the whole thing all together and then put the swearing in and all the, we get your thought process, in other words. And what happens is I lose my thought and I don't know what I'm thinking about. So I'm sorry about that. And so then the swearing comes in and I don't want you to hear that. So anyway, the next thing would be the diminished chords. So now, these are kind of a lot easier than the half diminished. So like you just moving up like this. Each one is very interesting and very easy to hear. And they're symmetrical, so you can hear that, like when you get up to E flat, it's the same as the C. And when you get up to E, it's the same as the D flat. When you get up to F, it's the same as, it's just an inversion. So they invert each other every three chords. In other words, there's only three families, and then they start to invert. So there's three families of four, and then four that make the 12. So four in each family, and there are three families. That makes up 12. So there you have all the seventh chords in their root positions. Now, the other way to practice them is chromatically, like I said. So like you take the dominant chords and go up chromatically, and those are great too. And so we're going to move on now to voicing them in two hands and some interesting voicings, and also looking at an easy way to play these in a song. Rather than having to learn complicated chords, let's just learn two notes. And I'll show you that. Here we go. Now I understand this is rather daunting when you figure out that, all the various keys, the various 12 keys, you have to learn all this stuff in, and it's a little too much, through the cycle of fifths and everything. But what's easy is within one song, all you're mostly dealing with is that scale of that song. And there's so many songs that are just stay within the scale of whatever key they're in. So like they stay, these are the notes in the song. Or, like for instance, Summertime is in the key of C, just the white notes, but it's, let's just say it's relative minors, but it's all white notes. So the melody is all this. See, there's no black notes. It's all white notes. Like that kind of thing. So now you have to harmonize, and I'm going to talk about that later. But the important thing is to see, you just have to learn within one key. But now, using the left hand, if you wanted to go through the cycle of keys, you could just use what I call the shell. Now, you know, I talked about these 4-note chords like this. Now you can just use the shell of the chord. And in the case of 2-5-1s, I'm going to be using a minor 7th to a dominant 7th and then repeating it through the cycle. So it's going to be minor 7, dominant 7, minor 7. So now I can use these shells like this. Take out the middle notes, the 3rd and the 5th, and just use the root and the 7th. On the next chord, which is the F7, going through the cycle of 5ths, I'm going to be going like this. Up a 4th, down a 5th, up a 4th, down a 5th, up a 4th, down a 5th, up a 4th, down a 5th. If you don't understand that, you want to watch my previous videos on the cycle of 5ths, and you want to really understand that because it's paramount to getting any of this. You have to understand the cycle of 5ths to understand jazz, so, or music in general, but anyway. So I just go, this is interesting because it goes here, down a half step, here, up a 4th, like that. So that's the C chord, this is the F chord, next chord is B flat, then it moves to here for the root and 7th, then into the E flat like that. So it's a pattern that's symmetrical through the cycle of 5ths, like this. Okay, so now I add to that, let's start it over here, actually. Go down, and I'll add that, some harmony in here like this. This is written out for you, but you can watch it too. Ends up on a major chord there. Then we have to go a half step higher because we're missing some. Well, that may not mean much to you, but it's really the cycle of 5ths in all keys in a very simple way, in which there's just 4 notes, 2 in the left hand and 2 in the right hand. So you can use those 2 notes now to harmonize a song in a very simple way. And I usually start people out this way because it's a good way to start to be able to play a melody with a simple accompaniment in the left hand, or a chord support in the left hand in which only involves 2 notes. And it's a really good way to start out and hear what a song sounds like without having to learn 4-note chords. So here we go now with Summertime with just 2 notes in the left hand. Okay, we have a really interesting song here. It's in C, so it's going to be all the white notes. Summertime. Now I'm going to play it up here just so we can... Generally, chords sound best right in the middle range, like around middle C. You know, as you start to get down here an octave lower, they sound kind of muddy, and as you get up here, they sound too thin, and they don't sound as fat sounding, as, you know, as dense as you would like. So like it's really good to learn how to voice chords, voicing meaning how you position them and how they lead from one chord to the next in an economical way. In other words, in a way which I like to call economy of motion. In other words, you're not jumping around a lot, like, you know, moving from root. If we played everything in root position, we'd be jumping all over the place, you know. But we do a root position to an inversion, to another inversion, to another inversion. You know, like that's voice leading right there. And it's not just 2-5-1s, but it really is like how one voice moves to the next position. In other words, this voice moves down to here, this voice moves down to here, this voice moves down to there, and this voice moves down to there to get to that chord, and then they move down this way like that to get to the next chord. So you have this progression going from A minor 7 to B half diminished to E7 flat 9 to A minor 7 that way. See, so that's what you have. Now, with the open voicings, I'm going to show you the easiest way to play this is to play those left-hand voicings which are just open. Now, that's root and seventh. So we have the melody here. Now, you could play it here if you like. I like it up here. Then the B half diminished is here. The E7 is there now. Now, you could play it there. Then you get into a problem there. You're overlapping. See, so now whether you like the sound of that or not, I mean, you could play more complicated chords like this. So if you like those, then you can learn the 4-note chords, but you can't play them in root position because see, there's always an issue with the piano, unless if you had an organ with two keyboards, you're going to overlap. So like if you can spread them out like that, but until you learn advanced concepts like this, and at beginner levels you're not going to understand that. So you have to learn the easiest ways first, and then eventually work at those, perfect those, and then work into the more advanced concepts. You know, like so we're just going to start with a single melody line and the left hand Bud Powell style, because he played this, like he played really open chords like this. These open roots and sevenths. So here we go. Let's hear what it sounds like. See, so that's a simple melody now with voicings that are open or spread. Now you can add, ultimately you want to add one note to the right hand, one note harmony to the right hand to get a better sound, and we'll show you that. A simple concept, but more advanced, is to add a harmony note in the right hand. So like you have 2 notes in the left hand and you have 2 notes in the right hand. And with those 4 notes now you have a full block chord, you know. You have the root, 3rd, 5th, 7th. So like we already have the root and the 7th here, so now you just need, well, you already have the 3rd. I'm sorry, you don't have the 3rd, so you can add it. Now you might want to, better for me would be to add it here, but the only way you can get that is if you can do the stretch. So you can do the stretch like this. Okay, so I do that a lot. I do this type of voicing a lot where I'm playing, and that's a really good technique for piano, is to be able to arpeggiate a chord and get more than just its 7th, but get the 3rd above it. See, so like, you see how I'm doing that with the left hand? Let's look at it again. Another one. So I'm doing these arpeggiated. Gives me a fuller sound because I'm getting all the important notes in the chord. The root, the 3rd, the 7th. The color tone, the 5th. So it goes root, 3rd, 7th, color tone, then you can add the 5th if you like. So let's listen to it. So I added that third there, up to here. There it is again. There I added that extra note in. Now see there it works perfectly, just the root and seventh to the root and third. It sounds like it's enough. See, so you can begin to start to play songs with a very simple left hand of 2 notes and a melody note here, and then begin to add a few, maybe 1 or 2 notes in the right hand, or do these arpeggiated tenths kind of thing. So now there you have a drill. 10 pages I have for you for 7th chords, and if we were to play this now in block chord position, it's going to sound like this. Block chord position, we'll talk a little bit about that and then we'll finish up. Thanks for watching. I just want to say please download all the sheets I have. I have 10 pages of sheets on this video, so there's a lot to practice, and until next time I will say swing loose and we'll see you, and be cool. Bye bye.